Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chat Photography with Jorj. And tonight we've got an excellent little program for you on water drop photography, but more about that in a few seconds. Okay, fantastic. Okay, um,
Oh,
I'm just looking at some of the future things that I'm going to be presenting, probably further into this month and into November. But one of the speakers that I hope to have here will be Chris Atkinson, or Chris Atkins, and he's going to be talking about searching for pirate treasure in the Caribbean. And they're diving right now and searching for various, I think they're Spanish galleons that have sunk. And I hope that he'll be able to show us some videos and show us some of the things that he's doing and some of the things that they've discovered. So at any rate, that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. Tonight, we're very fortunate to have Donna Waxman. Now, Donna Waxman is a passionate photographer with 15 years of experience. She brings a dedication and quality to her event photography and her corporate headshots, also to her classes at Mohawk College. She spent 23 years as a research assistant, technician, and coordinator at McMaster University, where she earned the President's Outstanding Service Award of 2017. Donna received her applied photography certificate in 2017 from Mohawk College, graduating with honors. Her teaching at Mohawk began in 2018 with photographing the elderly, followed by water drop macro refraction photography, which is her topic tonight. So I'd like to welcome Donna to tonight's chat photography.
Thank you very much, Jorj. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the beautiful introduction. And thank you for being here tonight. I see David. How are you?
I'm good. And
Good,
yourself?
good to see you. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about a course that I teach at Mohawk College on macro water drop refraction photography. It's a very cool course which kind of evolved through COVID, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. What I'm going to talk to you about the presentation that I present to the students on the first night, and it'll give you a lot of background. And basically, I'll skim through a lot of parts because a lot of it's not applicable to the assignments. You don't have to do any assignments, but we'll talk about what is the impetus that led me to start doing macro photography, especially given the fact that I'm an event photographer and have always kind of headed in that direction. So, and I'm going to just open up my presentation, and here it should show up in a moment. Let me know if you see it.
There we go.
There. Got it? Can you
Yes,
see it?
yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just wondering I'm not seeing it from my end. Let me just, in terms of, hang on, I just have to go into my, I think I have to go in order to make it move, I have to open it again. Is that the case, Jorj?
You should just be able to use the slideshow.
I'm just not seeing the slideshow at the moment. So I'm just going to go into, um, I'll just open it again and see if I can open with preview. And Okay, can you see it now? If is
Yes.
it moving?
No, it's not
Okay.
move. Go.
Okay, let me just go
Now you can
into
try and move it.
okay, I'm going to okay, just tell me if you see it.
There.
Is it moving?
Perfect. It's moving.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, so fantastic. So I'm going to start telling you about just this picture. This slide right here has a lot of information on it. What you'll see is actually on the very bottom picture is the setup of what, in fact, I do when I'm doing water refraction photography. You can see my camera is on a tripod. You can see there's like a speed light that's set off by the trigger to the right-hand side. It's actually illuminating the subject, which is the HDR picture that is in the background. And I've got two helping hands in a stick. And there's a water droplet that is resting on the stick. And this is all about how I got the two photos that are at the beginning of the image, on the top of this image. So if you can see the one on the right, it's actually a water droplet, and the one on the left is more like it's free-falling water droplet. But both were obtained in this by dropping a water droplet in a syringe, and I will show you exactly what the props I've used following, well, during this presentation as well as in person. So basically, you can see what you can get by taking a water droplet, focusing with your macro lens, and then shooting through the water droplet to get the image of what the subject is behind it. So okay, so as Jorj said, I'm an event photographer by mostly because I that's where my career has taken me. Although I do enjoy for portrait photography and lifestyle photography. But what got me into water droplet photography, and it had to do with the pandemic where I had no events to cover. And like everyone else, I was at home thinking of how I can adapt my life to my life in quarantine and just enjoy my photography. So basically, I saw online there was a lot of people who were actually doing water droplet photography, splash photography. People were keeping busy during the quarantine by photographing snowflakes, frozen water bubbles. There were all kinds of different things that were able to be done in isolation and required a lot of time, and we all had a lot of time, and it was new and exciting. And for photographers who are photographing on a daily basis, it was a way of us to, develop new skills. So, okay, so I'm just going to move this. So, as I go through quickly, you'll see I'm going to skip some things because they're related to the course. So, anyways, as I would as I was saying that in the very beginning photo, it's important to have the water droplet that's set on some sort of like a piece of grass. It could be a flower stem. It could be a petal. It could be metal, anything that you want. But what you are doing is you're placing the subject behind or underneath a drop of water, and you're using a macro lens. I have a 105 macro lens to capture the refracted subject that's in the water drop. So just so you know, it will appear upside down because of science. And there's a slide coming up that we'll probably go through quickly. But all you need to know is when you set up your water droplet subject behind the stick of or whatever is whatever you're using to actually house the water droplet, you'll have to have it upside down. Otherwise, it will. And then it will appear in the water droplet right side up. It's all about science. So basically, it's important to know that not all the beads of water that you see are actually they hold water well. Some sticks and some surfaces have much better tension that will hold the water droplet. And people are talking about using glycerin or xanthan gum dissolved in a little bit of water. And we've done experiments in our classroom, and we have found that the students have found actually, as well as myself, that a drop of water without anything is a very effective means of creating a water droplet. But I think that everybody wants to perhaps experiment and see if you can get a better water droplet than just water. So you can experiment and you can buy xanthan gum or diluted glycerin at either Shoppers Drug Mart or any of the bulk barn stores. So, okay. So what is macro photography? Now, the thing about water drop macro photography is that the step before you can take a water drop photo, that's a macro refraction photo, you have to know how to take a macro photo. Now, thanks to Jorj, because I took Jorj's his macro course when I was doing my certificate at Mohawk College. I did take a macro course, and it's very interesting because you can see things that are such in such detail with that you can't see with the naked eye, and it's almost like you become like a superhero vision person because all the details that are like you would never even notice are within the image. So here's the science. This is all about how you want to have your image upside down, and we don't have to go through that too much right now. So how did my journey begin? So with this new all this time on my hand, I started taking photos of insects and birds. And believe it or not, I took my first picture of a flower during COVID. And being a photographer, I never took photos of flowers, but all of a sudden I'm taking photos of anything that is, basically in my view. And this is a true story. One day a fly appeared in my office, and I realized how incredible insect macro photography was because it gave me a whole new insight into the world beyond my mortal vision. And so basically, I started taking photos, macro photos of different flies and insects and bees and flowers and anything I could get my hands on. And till I could perfect my macro photography, I didn't realize what was the next step. So I I needed to actually hone my skills in Photoshop because I was a Lightroom girl and I basically did everything in Lightroom. So I started seeing what I could do, and I started doing funny little images like a carpenter ant with carpenter tools. And, maybe I was the only one amused, but I put things on Instagram and I was probably the only one laughing, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And I had a stink bug that kind of jumped up. It looked like it was ready to play the piano. So I started working on my macro photography and my Photoshop skills. And then I realized how hard it is to actually take photos outdoors because even the slightest little breeze would cause blur. So I took my images inside for the most part, wherever I could, other than the bee photo below. And I realized it was more important to have a controlled environment for the sharper images. So it kept me busy while I enjoyed all the macro photography. So where does this lead me for this water drop photography? So as a photographer, I'm on Instagram looking around, and there's this photographer by the name of Enrichetta, and I can give you the spelling of her name if you'd like. But she does the most incredible water drop refraction photography images I've ever seen. And she doesn't just use sticks; she uses beautiful petals and trees and leaves, and it's a work of art. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So after I perfected this is a jumper spider, so I yeah, a little Nike headband on. I started to try to figure out how to do this. And it was much more difficult than I thought because, in fact, when you place the stick and in the hands, the helping hands, and then you drop the water droplet on the stick, where are you focusing through the water droplet to get the full image of this baseball? Now, this baseball, I'm going to show you at the end of this little talk. Exactly what that looks like because I have it in my hands, and I have other images that I can show you that I use that are you would never expect them to be what they are based on the size and what how they look through the water droplet, but they're placed upside down. And the hardest part about water droplet macro photography is getting the subject in the right spot so that it is reflecting through the water droplet. So when you set your tripod and you got your camera and you're moving it up and down, you're moving it so that you can see within that water droplet the image in its perfection, in completely covering the water droplet. Now, it sounds like it's easier than said, but it's not easy until you get the idea of where to actually place the subject relative to the water droplet. So um, I started doing all kinds of different photos, and my photos were, like I just anything I could find around the house. This is actually on the middle top is a Lucky Charms box, and it's basically the Lucky Charm. If you can see, he looks great, and I posted it for like St. Patty's Day or something. And this the photo with the tree and the icicle. That icicle came inside with me because I'm not really an outdoors person. And it created this crazy looking eye in the water droplet. And I thought, oh, that looks really cool. So I started practicing on anything that I could. And I had this little tiny camera, and I had a piece of grass that I tried to see if the water droplet. And my very first image was the camera and a flower that I'll show you. But you can see that as the three water droplets move along on the piece of grass, the one on the far right is actually it's not perfectly centered because the curve in the grass and all the science that goes along with the water droplet being reflecting the subject. So anyhow, this picture I really like because it's the twig that is carrying the water droplet looks almost like a baseball bat, but now many years later, the to create a baseball bat with AI, it's a piece of cake. But if you can believe it, that is just a piece of wrapping paper, and I've got one right here. I'm going to show you at the end of this talk, and you'll see it. All it is a piece of wrapping paper flattened with the two helping hands. And when you have like a repeated pattern like this, it makes it very easy to find the water drop, the subject within the water droplet. If you have a single item, it's much more difficult because you have to center it and find it. But a repeated pattern is what I would recommend that you start with because it's pretty easy to you'll see everything that's there. You just have to figure out the distance. I started doing everything in terms of like this was a decoration for a Christmas tree, this snowflake, and that's a card, like a Christmas card that I bought at the Dollarama store, and just centering those two little guys. It took me, this little snowman, it took me a lot of trial and error, but that's how I was spending my day. I got I started photographing everything, even like the COVID test box, which is to show you how I just wanted to try everything. So this was a photo that I took for Digital 2 with Paul. He was one of the great teachers at Mohawk College, and he taught Digital 2 and business. And so I took this photo, and then I used it as my backdrop for my cover page. And and it can result in pictures like this. So now my personal biggest challenge is that not only can you have a water drop suspended on a stick, but you can have it free falling. And this little, I'm going to show you, I brought up the flag it's like a Raptors flag, and you'll see I hung it on with the two hands, and all I wanted to do was get a picture of the dinosaur within the water droplet. And it took me thousands and thousands of tries, honestly, but it was almost like a personal mission, and it was successful, I think. And that was another month later that I got this image. There's also water splash photography, which is so much fun to actually try. And if you think that I use watercolors for these images, I did not. I just used, if you can believe the one on the bottom left, I used a colorful baby's hat and I just rested it in the water. And basically it takes all the colors that are surrounding it and I thought you would have to use all kinds of like food coloring. You don't. You just have to get a scarf, a cloth, anything that's colorful, and it will create these fun images. Um, uh, okay, and then again, I was trying to get the flower within the drop, and okay. So these were some of the courses that some of the images that I enjoyed doing, and then I tried to put my Photoshop skills, my new Photoshop skills into the picture where I added a basketball net because one of the water droplets looked like a basketball player and a puppy. I gave him an eye. I mean, we all were trying to keep busy during COVID, and this is how I actually spent my time. Um, so basically, for the course that I taught, we the first thing that I asked the students to do, assignment one, was to just get a mic get a great macro photo because that's the first thing you need to do. And then this was a snakes and ladders game, and it's a repeated pattern, and that's a really easy thing to replicate. This was a skipping rope I got at the dollar store, so it doesn't have to necessarily be a stick. This was a very challenging one where I had the candlesticks, and obviously they weren't lit hanging upside down, but I did Photoshop. I lit one candle and then I just I Photoshopped the rest into the photo. There's also water droplet photography where you can take a piece of glass, and you can add waters. Now, what I did was I used Rain X to clean the glass so that the water droplets would turn into very perfect little circles. And basically, this is a lot of fun, and it's a piece of wrapping paper that's just below, and you have to figure out the height, and your camera should be on the tripod, and it's facing directly down. And it's one of my favorite fun and very easy way to start off doing this water drop photography. I recommend even starting with something like this because everybody's got an empty frame that they can use and for water bottles. And now you can see when the water droplets aren't done well on the glass, you can see how they can look. Okay, so these assignments that I were given, now these were one of the very first photos that I ever did. And you can see it when you have it was a 3D flower. And if it was a flat flower, it's hard enough. Repeated pattern, as I said, is easier. But when you have something like that's 3D, it's even more difficult to get within the water droplet. And it takes a lot of practice. Um, and then for another assignment, I just said, get inventive. And this is actually on the right side here. This was it was a box that I bought some magnets within for the solar system. And I found this really cool stick when I was hiking one day. And you can see it's really swirly and twirly, and it kind of, I dropped the water droplet right within there. So it doesn't have to be anything like a straight stick or a straight piece of like a jumping rope. It can be whatever you like. And you can get inventive, and the photos can also, it's a lot of fun, whatever you think you can find, and you can have the best time doing this. So, okay, so this is what I want to show you. This is, in fact, what I bought is the Helping Hands, and you can buy it on Amazon. That's where I bought it, and you can buy. I think I bought these for the Mohawk course, and I think there's 4 or 5 in the cupboards within the Mohawk, like the photography room. I actually have those as well, and I have one with 4 arms. And the thing about the 4 arms, I recommend buying the ones with 4 arms because the 2 in front can hold the stick and the 2 in back can hold whatever subject you're using. I also bought this marinade injector syringe. Be careful with it. And it has very big droplets. A lot of my students went to the pharmacy and bought like pure like needles that had injectable like syringes and actual needles, and tiny little amounts came out, and they also made beautiful water droplets. Um, so a couple points when you're taking macro photos, like I don't know if everybody who is a photographer is who does macro water drop or any kind of photography. There's just the diopter wheel, and it's really important to adjust the diopter wheel to your vision with your glasses if you wear them. And there's the instructions are right here. You can read them so that you can actually make sure that your prescription is in the in when you look through the viewfinder, because to make your macro photos very, very sharp, you need to have the diopter wheel set properly. So here's a few points. These are the key points that I can say to take away. Use a single focus point. You will need a tripod. Indoors is much easier to achieve sharp focus. When things are moving outside, it's not so easy. I used manual focus for my DSLR camera. I find that for my mirrorless camera, sometimes automatic is working okay too, but you have to decide what's good for you. Um, so a modeling light lamp is also great. You can hold it in the air and you can basically illuminate the subject. Don't illuminate the water droplet because it will create hot spots. Shoot in RAW because you're going to crop a lot and you're going to want to get the pixel size as big as possible. And you can, in post, you can just adjust the shadows and the highlights and the exposure. And be careful with the background because that's also in the image, and just edit your photos and bring up the colors. And basically, when you have the helping hands, you're going to have to know how to edit out. You can crop, can also do a good job. You can experiment. This is what xanthan gum looks like. And this was just, I did a video of how to edit, but this was like the theme, money doesn't grow on trees, where just for fun, I don't know why, I just wanted to get the queen's face into the water droplet. Also, you can use crystal beads. Now, these crystal beads are actually sold at the dollar store, and they come in blue, they come in white. I actually really, you can place them on top of like something with a stick that has like something that will hold it. But the only thing I really must caution you about is that if there's little ones around, you don't want to drop any of them. I'm not sure what's in them, and I don't think, you want to make sure that and they kind of bounce around a lot. So just be careful with those if you do in fact try them. And loads of patience, experimentation with your flash. And sometimes use illuminating lights on either side. Just have fun. I don't use like a wide open f-stop. I try to go for f9 or 11, 13. It doesn't matter for your shutter speed because you're going to always use a tripod. If you have a shutter release cord, that will also help in terms of making sure that you don't have any shake, and you want everything as sharp as possible. And um, that's the story. I'm just talking about flash, and the only thing I'm going to show you is if you do have a modeling light on one of your flashes, you can actually hold that and you can use that to illuminate your subject. And the only thing I was going to show you now was I'm going to just escape out of here, and I'm going to just show you a video of my setup. So I'm going to just um, tell me if can you see this, George, or not yet? Or not yet. Hang on. I'm going to just find, okay. I'm just going to exit out of this. And okay, here I am. Okay, now I'm going to share this. And unfortunately, this was shot horizontally. Vertically, sorry, vertically. And so I'm not sure if it's going to appear in the screen. Can you see it, anybody? Or is it there?
Yep.
Okay, so this is my setup, and you can see I've got my tripod, I've got my trigger, I've got my helping hands, I've got my little picture, I've got my little side off-camera flash, and there is the result right there. And that was the picture that Jorj used as the demonstration. I'm going to play it one more time because it's you can see that little tiny water droplet on the stick, and always a tripod because you can't, once you're set, you can't move it around. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's a little black dish underneath in the picture on my cut, like on the cover page of the keynote presentation, but it's not there, but it can get really messy. So just be careful because it's good to have a place where you're not going to have water splashing all over your equipment. And I must say, I have lost one flash to water splash photography, so be careful. So the last thing I was going to show you is, Jorj, is it okay if I escape from here? And hang on a second, I don't know how to go back to this. I'm going to quit that. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is in person. Okay, this is my helping hands right here. Okay, so I recommend it's magnetic on the bottom, it screws, it's easy to assemble. This is the xanthan gum thing, but you can see like they simulate, like they're so slippery, but you can see that they can create a like a water droplet. You can see right through them. So they're actually fun. They come in different colors. This is the syringe that I use for water drop. Be very careful. And just to show you a couple fun things, this was the flag that I used for the water flash photography, as well as that personal challenge. It was just this flag that I hung in the background, trying to get that little that dinosaur, it's the raptor, to be within that water droplet. And finally, this is the baseball wrapping paper that I used to have the water droplet. So if I recommend just start with something like a repeated pattern, and it's a lot easier, and set it up. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And and thank you for having me. And I that's the end of the the little spiel.
Well, thank you, Donna. That was fantastic.
Oh,
I'm
thank you
sure
for
that
having me.
yeah, you know what? I'm sure that in your this class that you give on water refraction drop photography, how long is that class? Is it a 1 day class or is it
It's 4 weeks actually.
4 weeks?
And yeah, and I got to tell you that the work that the students put together is phenomenal. Like I was blown away with the work that they did. Some students actually did such incredible work. They used like candle melting, and the photos were brilliant. So even though, and even like most of the classes, what we talked about just now, and then for the next 3 weeks, I bring in, I've got props. I could show you my bag of props. Like it's one thing that like I have all these different papers and to set against, but there's one more thing I don't know if I can find it quickly, but
You keep disappearing here.
I disappeared for a second. Um, I want to see if I can find, there's one thing I want to show you. I probably won't find it, but it was just a little blue jay, it was like a little blue jay, or that little baseball. It's just a paper this big. I got it at Party City in the party section. And even though it's tiny, I don't want to start looking for it now because I don't think maybe it's on my desk. I don't think so. There's a lot of fun things you can do, and just practice and have a good time, and be inventive, and it's something different than I'm used to, and I'm really glad that I was able to have the opportunity to spend the time, just learning something new.
Well, that's
Yeah,
fantastic,
that's
and I'm just looking at there are no questions. There's a
Okay.
number of people on YouTube. I think the it's reached about six, seven people on YouTube. But anyway, there are no questions right now unless Anka is here and David is here on Zoom. Uh, any questions there?
Hello, Donna and George. That was fantastic. I really learned a lot, and it's a very different type of photography. And yes, you also shared some products that I didn't know existed, like the helping hands. That's a very cool tool.
Mhm.
Very neat. My question is the when you mentioned about the diopter, that would be to use the viewfinder. Have you used only the viewfinder, or have you also tried to use the live view?
I only use the viewfinder. I never use
Mhm,
live view. I just want to get my face right up personal and
mhm.
right in there. And I feel like if I get my face right there through the viewfinder, for some reason, it might be different for other people, but I just find that I can actually really hone in on, I want it to be to the nth degree, each little tweak that you do with your manual focus is so minute. You're just the tiniest little amounts, and I feel like my vision is better. Maybe it's just me
Mhm.
when I look through the viewfinder, but the diopter has to be set. Like if you look, like my vision
Yes,
is great, but I think a lot of people don't realize that, you want to see things clearly, and it can only be done if you've got your
of
diopter,
course.
that's your prescription.
Of course, with the viewfinder though, you can press the plus button numerous times in order to enlarge the water droplet so that it fills up the whole screen. And
Exactly.
then as you so I would think that I guess depending how close you are, so because you mentioned you crop quite a bit, so then that water droplet might be bigger or smaller in your initial frame. And so I was
Correct.
thinking with viewfinder, it might be kind of tiny, whereas on live view, if you press the plus, the magnifying lens, you can actually make it quite large to fill your whole screen. And then as you play manually with the focus ring, then you can really see how the focus of it changes.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I think that maybe, I haven't done it that way, but I think it's a great idea. I think
Mhm.
that's fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up, Anka.
Thank you. And then my other question, I should remember this from physics course, but
Uh-oh.
maybe you know the answer, is I'm thinking the actual focusing distance is the distance from the camera to the object and not from the camera to the water droplet, right? Like, is that the distance? Because the light, even though you're or do you focus on the water droplet? Like, what would be the actual like focusing distance, do you think?
Good question, Anka, and thanks for asking that. I am focusing on the water droplet.
Okay.
I am
Bec
actually definitely looking through the water droplet and
Mhm.
focusing on the subject through the water droplet.
Interesting. So now with like in a mirror, when one takes a photograph in a mirror, I think the distance is double, like technically, because the mirror doesn't count. It's only like the light, it reflects off the mirror, but I'm not sure. Like I'm just thinking that those rays of light are actually coming from further away.
I'm not exactly 100% sure about the science
Mhm.
behind what is going on, but I can tell you that I focus directly
Yes.
on the subject through the water droplet, and that's the way that you can get a very crisp macro
Yes.
photo. And I think the goal is to have the subject in the water droplet as sharp as possible.
Yes.
And so that's the way I focused
Nice.
yeah, so I mean, I think experimentation is key, and Anka, and I think that, what you're saying is great, and it's also like really interesting and sciencey, and I think that you can play around, and I think that's the whole beauty of this kind of thing is that experimentation is really
Mhm.
key to see what will yield the best kind of image that will result in what you have in mind for your vision.
Well, thank you. The images were beautiful and very
Thank,
colorful
oh, thank
and
you.
a lot of fun. And I really appreciated how you had fun with some lighthearted subjects, like the dinosaur and the baseballs. And it was all sort of, fun, lighthearted stuff. And then the Photoshop stuff with the bug playing the piano, that was really creative. So you
Well, thank
really,
you.
got creative with it, and that's really refreshing to see.
You know what? I think that we all went through a lot during COVID, and I think we all had to reinvent ourselves.
Oh,
And
I almost felt traumatized hearing about it again. I
yeah,
was trying
I'm
to
sorry.
forget about it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a tough time, and I
No,
think that we,
it's funny because you brought it up a few times, and I thought, oh, I haven't thought about that in a thought about that time period in a while, and it's sort of I'm glad it's behind us.
oh, for sure. And now I'm kind of missing the macro photos because I'm so busy with event photos
Right.
and headshots and whatever else I do. I haven't really
Yeah.
had a lot of time for this, but every so often, like it rains and I'm looking outside and I'm thinking water droplets. And it's
Yes.
a bit of an
Nice.
obsession. Yeah, I
Well,
love it.
I don't want to hog the floor here. I think David might have some questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Anka.
Thanks, Anka.
no, that was
David,
really interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I've just really just taken up macro photography. So my biggest problem is the focusing on it. But I must admit, I find the live view better, basically because I had cataract eye surgery done a couple of years ago, and it totally changed everything uh,
Oh,
for focusing on that. And I find if I go use the eyepiece, I can't, I just can't seem to focus on it.
did you get monovision surgery, like where the far eye, one's far and one's close?
No,
Okay.
I I still need glasses for close up, but my long vision is nearly 20/20.
Oh, that's amazing. Well,
So it was, yeah, because I couldn't, at one point, I couldn't actually see out my right eye. Everything was just blurred. So it was
oh.
quite, quite something. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, no, it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to trying it out. I'm sure it's going to be a total disaster, but
You know
it's,
what? Call me if you have any questions. I think you
yeah,
still have
we'll
my,
do.
or
Yeah.
email me. You still have my email.
Yeah, but I was thinking, how are you doing it? I thought you were actually superimposing the image in the water droplet, but you're not. You're actually using the image behind it, which I find quite amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And that's the where the world is your oyster, really, because you can take any subject that you want and you can just have fun with it
yeah, yeah,
and,
and
and try it out. And I recommend, starting with something easy that's, not going to be, frustrating because I think that when I first started, I didn't really realize that, okay, well, the repeated pattern's a whole lot easier than a single
mm,
pattern. And, like
yeah,
all these things that you kind of realize after you're trying so hard to get
yeah,
the image.
but yeah, the baseball image was amazing. That looked really good, and as you say, it was just a repeated pattern.
Oh, yeah, that's all. Yeah. And
How
the,
did you get all those balls together?
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and yeah, I feel like just showing you the the wrapping paper for the baseball. It's like it looks so simple. Like, I remember when it was COVID. I'm sorry to bring this up again, Anka, but I wasn't going shopping. I was scared to go, so I would ask the shopper for my groceries, "Can you find some wrapping paper that has a repeated pattern on it?" I think she thought I was like, really? And I said, "It's for some photography." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do my best." And she did a good job. But yeah, just to find something to even like I found even gift bags. There's a lot of great gift bags that I used, and also I started to show you. I don't think I went to any extent to show you too carefully, but there's a lot of paper you can buy at the dollar store too with different backgrounds. And here I can show you quickly, such as like this kind of thing, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to show you that. Well, you get the idea. So that
Oh yes, yeah. No, there's lots of potential with the water droplet photography. Do you have to take a number of um, frames per second on that?
No, I think that basically you can take like if I was taking a photo, I would take like probably hundreds, and then when I finally got it sharp, then I would make sure I would zoom it right in to make sure it was very, very sharp, and then I would take a few more, like just to make sure like it would be all set up with my lens and my tripod and I would in my shutter release cord, and then I would
Mm.
take a few more, but it was more that basically I would take you know like single photos. It was
All
shot
right.
in single photos, just, and then I would look in, okay, it's not sharp enough, just zoom it in and till it was perfect.
So how do you focus on that? Is it just
Well,
trial and error?
it's you've got your camera focused on the water droplet, and what you're doing is I had my camera always in manual, and I would like the focus in manual, and then I would
Mm.
just fine tune it till I could find it, and once I found it, and then sharpened it to the so that it was like little nth degree, like tiniest little amounts till it was perfection and it was
Mm.
sharp. And I think for me, the goal was as sharp as possible.
Yeah, lots of patience.
Yeah, well, lots of time.
Yeah, no, it's quite amazing. Yeah, it's something really which is quite simple but isn't, but produces an amazing result. It's really good.
It's
Yeah.
just something different. Like,
Mm.
I know you do event photography, David, and I know that you enjoy that as well as other types of
Mm.
photography, but it's, almost like, there's real estate photography, there's night sky photography, like
Oh
there's
yes, yeah,
so many amazing areas of photography. And, I feel that, it's great to explore.
yeah, definitely something new.
Exactly.
So when's the next course?
Well, I'm teaching event photography January 6th at Mohawk College. And basically, I just got the dates and I've already got like an event to take the class to. So hopefully it'll run based on the numbers. So I know you took the event photography course already, David.
Yes. Yeah, I was
So,
thinking of the water droplets if you're doing
oh
that.
yeah, when they ask me next, I can let you know, David, for
Yeah,
sure.
thanks. Yeah, that'd be good.
I would love that. It would be great.
Hmm.
See you again.
Yeah. No,
Thanks,
that's
David.
you're welcome.
So much, David.
Yeah, no, that was really interesting. It was good. I'm gonna rush it. That syringe there, I didn't realize it was so big. You got it out. Oh my God, that's massive.
Well, actually, some of my students brought these tiny, tiny little
Hmm.
syringes, and I think I don't want to start searching in my
No.
bag of tricks, but I might have one. But they're really tiny, and I think you can get them at the Shoppers Drug Mart, and they release the tiniest little drop. And I don't think it's like, the whole idea is not to like plunge out a whole bunch of water onto the
Hmm.
stick. It's got to adhere and it's got to be slow and it's got to be methodical and it's got to be, the correct vessel to transmit the water droplet so it stays on the whatever you're using to
Yeah.
house the water droplet.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That sounds good.
Okay, thanks again. Now, Donna, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One of them is, do you ever mix anything with the water in order to give it a little bit more surface tension, like glycerin?
We actually tried an experiment in one of my classes with my students, and we took glycerin and we took xanthan gum. And what we did was we tried the difference to see how that water droplet would adhere. Now, xanthan gum is especially difficult to dissolve. So you have to do it the night before. And what I did was I did make a batch the night before. So you put it in warm water and you stir, 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 you let it sit. Um, we did everything right, but the class and unanimously agreed that the pure water was actually a better avenue to take for making the water droplet stay on this whatever you house the water droplet on. So we did try it, and I know people swear by glycerin, they swear by the xanthan gum. Um, uh, I don't know if I actually mentioned, but did I mention that you need Rain-X when you do I did mention it, I think, for when you've got the glass, just to make sure that it kind of gets the surface tension of the glass in a way that the water droplets will kind of ball up so that they're not in misshapen form. But the xanthan gum and the glycerin, I don't know if it really made a difference, to be honest with you. I have both. And
Okay.
if I see anyone next, I'm happy to give you a spoonful of both in a
Well,
baggie and try it.
the next question I have is, I think the last time we talked, you actually showed me a bottle of that Drain-X, is it?
Oh, Rain-X?
Rain-X, Rain-X, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's available where?
You can get Rain-X. Can I go on my internet? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Let me just
Probably from Amazon. They have everything.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely get it there. Yeah, so it's called Rain Glass Cleaner. It's a yellow bottle. Hang on, I wonder if I can, how do I share this?
Well,
Can I
you
share
go
this?
to the bottom of
Let
your
me,
Zoom and share, and you'll see it in one of the
okay,
thumbnails.
in the window. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. Can anybody see it? Or not yet?
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to.
Can you see it yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it now. Literally.
Oh, let me just move it up a little bit. Does that,
Walmart.
Yeah,
is that a bit better? Oh yeah, there.
that's
Okay.
better. That's better. Now I can zoom it in a bit.
Should I move it back? Is that okay or?
No, that's
It's
fine.
$10.47. You can get it on Instacart where you can browse at Walmart. It's at
Yep.
Walmart. It says it's under household essentials, cleaners, kitchen cleaners, glass cleaners.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. My pleasure.
All righty. So again, thank you very much, Donna. That was, the amazing thing about photography, Donna, is that I never stop learning about new things. There's
Mm.
always something new on the horizon. Matter of fact, last week I was talking
Exactly.
about, and I introduced the world's largest camera, 3.2 billion pixel camera, right? Next
Wow.
week, next week, I'm going to talk about the world's smallest camera that'll fit on your thumb. It's a little
Mm.
speck. And I'm going to introduce you to the world's smallest camera. There's a company that makes these, and I'll show you the applications that they use them for, hopefully. But that's next week. And like I said, I'm hoping that we're going to have some exciting things coming up, exciting guests in the future. And you know, eh, just like yourself, I think that there are other things that we could have you back for, and that would be, to talk about portraiture of seniors. We could have you back here for any of the other courses that you're teaching, and just to give us a little bit of a 15-minute overview of what it is that you do and what the things that you talk about. I think they can be very exciting for people
I
to
would love
hear.
that, Jorj. I would
Okay?
absolutely love that. I would love to
Yeah,
come back and talk about even event photography because
yeah.
a lot about event photography that, there's some very important things to know before you get into a room and start shooting. It's not just like pushing a button. It's a very important course. I feel that you can't just expect to just grab a camera and go and without any kind of knowledge. There's a lot of things you need to be prepared for.
Oh,
So I would
absolutely,
come back.
absolutely. In my former life as a commercial photographer, I did a lot of event photography for companies such as SC Johnson, Procter and Gamble, and Hamilton, many others. And the
Mhm.
logistics involved, as you know, in doing successful event photography is very important to have that discussion with the people that you're going to be working with as to what the important facets of that event are going to be and to be ready for those as well as you know, just in the mingling, who are the important people that they want
Oh,
photographs of,
absolutely.
So
And as I told my students, and echoing what you just said, Jorj, is that every time I told my students every time I shot an event for 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 like decades, I learned something new. There was always something that came up that I'm like, oh my God, how did I not know that? Like leaving your camera bag like 100 feet away, it's still in the shot, like little things like that. Like there's so many things that you learn something new every time, and you take away a lot of information by practice. So I
well,
think that,
one of the things that I did do quite a bit of is because some of the events that I photographed were fairly large, and some of them had multiple locations all at the same time. Is I recruited my students. I felt there were some students who had the skills to be able to pull this off, and I recruited them as extra shooters, and
right.
got press passes for them or whatever it took to get them in there. And so we had doggone good coverage that way.
That's great. As a matter
Yeah,
of fact, part of my event photography course is the seventh class. Around the seventh class out of eight, I take them to an event, and we don't go just to a little one. We go to a huge one. It's usually an event that has several hundred people
yeah.
at a very difficult place to photograph an event, where the ceilings are low and it's dark, and they learn so much out of just being there. And then the people get extra photos and they love it too. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. Just the hands-on experience is great for them. And then, they're very talented, so the people get more images for their events. So it's definitely the way to go. So
Well, again, just closing because it's 8 o'clock, time for the shutters to come down. Thank you very much, Donna. It was
thank you so
illuminating.
much for having me, Jorj. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
And yeah, it was a
Thank you.
pleasure. Okay, we'll talk again.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Thank you.
Okay,
For those
bye
of
bye.
you that attended, both on YouTube and on Zoom. Thank you for being here. And again, thank you, Donna, for that illuminating. I like that word, especially as a photographer. Talk that you gave on that water drop photography. I think that's something that a lot of people could play around, experiment with. The nice thing about it is it's very contained, and you can do it at home. You can do it in the evening, during the daytime. It's something that you totally control all the way. So one of the things that I do ask for is, if you don't mind, for those of you that are watching, to just give me a like on YouTube, and of course, If you haven't, please subscribe. Thank you for attending. Have a good night. Have a good week. Good shooting.